What's going on, YouTube and y'all squad? This is your boy Yakartees, and this is your review for The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 12, Episode 9. So, really quickly, hopefully, if you all are watching this in succession, what's going to happen is, for a lot of this, I am not going to hit every point for the most part. I say that, but I probably will anyway. But I have a lot to get caught up on because this is what I have. What, 4 episodes? Wait, 1, 2, yeah, like 4 episodes to give y'all today, and if y'all heard that beep, that's my food. So I'm gonna give this one out. I'm gonna eat my food while this is on to get y'all the other 3. Nevertheless, we pick up where we left off with Teresa walking up on Marge. Marge still has her back to Teresa. And I'm not gonna say that I feel, first and foremost, I don't feel that Teresa is that girl. If we're gonna say that, obviously we did hear stories about her and Dolores fighting in the past. But I feel that Dolores has more hands than Teresa does. Let's be very, very clear. Very, very clear. And that's just based off what we see. But she walks up on Marge. Marge ain't paying her no mind. But I think that's also because Marge knows that if anything does go left, there is security. All right. Marge says she's not going to talk about this, right? Like, we're not doing this. Like, what you want to talk about right now, we discussed. Well, it was talked about in nauseum already. We're not doing it. We made up. It's over. Then she says, you're trying to deflect so no one talks about Louis. So Teresa then says, well, let's talk about Louis. And Mara says, no. And mentions she knew about, I'm sorry. So I'm sorry. So Mara says, no, we're not going to do the Louis thing. I would have done the Louis thing. Like, oh, you want to talk about it? Like, if y'all remember that song from Black, I'm Good, from the Honey soundtrack, where it says, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Yeah, let's talk about it. You want to talk about, let's talk about Louis. But I appreciate that she didn't do it. So then Teresa mentions that she knew about the rumor about Evan from Marge, which is interesting because if that is the case, even though it was somewhat alluded to, if that was the case, you would have said that last season. Now, I will say Marge did look a little suspect when it was brought to her attention from Teresa at the beginning of last season. And I think it was one of those where it's just like, I know something, but I ain't going to say nothing. So Marge, as if she heard it out of her mouth. Now, one of the things to really pay attention to is pay attention to what people say. Now, because again, I can understand somebody asking, hey, did you hear that from my mouth? Did you hear me say it from my mouth to your ears? But also, it should have been, I never said it. But it was just, did you hear me say it? So it's almost like, Marge, what you know? So Teresa says she thinks she put it out there. Now, it's one, now look, I'm a person all about intuition, if you will. Like, my spirit is very connected. And 9 times out of 10, my spirit is right about people and situations. There is that 1 out of 10 that I'll be wrong. But most of the time, I am spot on when it comes to people and situations. But so for her to say she thinks rather than I have this gut feeling and something just ain't sitting right, Teresa's full of it. Teresa's just literally trying to sit here and shift blame. Anyway, Jackie says she knows Marge didn't say it. Okay, all right. I really hope for Jackie's sake and sanity that Marge didn't have a role to play, because that's going to be some interesting ish. Anyway, Marge brings up Teresa having Jen call Serena. And Jen says to Teresa, like, it's not a big deal. It was on, the heels of what Jackie said about Gia. Now, what Jen is trying to do is just be like, it don't matter. It's okay. I played my part. It is what it is. Don't feel away. But for her to say it came on the heels of what she said about Gia lets us know, again, that establishes the timeline. And Teresa's pretty much confirms that is what it is, and even says, Jackie, you should have said the word analogy before giving the actual analogy. That's not how this works. It's not. It's not. Now, let's be very, very clear. Jackie was using an analogy, but again, let's also be clear. I love Jackie, but Jackie knew what she was doing. When Jackie said, Jackie knew. See, here's the thing. The art of getting somebody up off your back. When you know something, or you know what the trigger is, you go there. Now, again, everybody ain't like me. Okay. We'll play zodiacs for a second. I'm a Capricorn. One of my cousins that I'm close to, she a Capricorn. But we two different type of Capricorns. She will sit here and have a little bit of, discretion. Okay, she'll hold back a little bit. I done told y'all already. If we at a war of words, if we going at it, no one or nothing is off limits. I'm gonna say whatever I gotta say to get you to F up off my back. And if it means we finna sit here and come to blows because I said something that you didn't quite agree with, well, okay, well, guess what? We come to blows then, because I said what the hell I said. Anyway, get back to where my I said and then Dolores says, well, maybe she could have said, Dolores, sit your ass down. See, I told y'all 20 to 25% of the time I be here with Dolores, the rest of the time I don't. Because everything is very lopsided. I understand the loyalty of being friends with somebody for so long, and when you're friends with somebody for so long, they become family, so you feel that you have to stick up for it. But it's also the whole calling somebody out, which she doesn't do enough. And when she does, it's very lighthearted with a soft touch. Talking about some, well, you should have said, well, maybe she could have said don't do that. Anyway, so that issue is tabled. So then Teresa then sets her sights on Tracy and says, well, you asked your husband to ask my boyfriend questions. Tracy says that, oh, I talked to my husband, but I never once told him or moved him to ask your boyfriend anything. So yeah, I'm having a conversation with my husband. And I'm adding extra, but more or less we're having a conversation. We're having pillow talk. But I never once sat here and put a battery in his back for him to do it. I somewhat believe it, but not really. But okay, we just gonna keep going. So then Teresa says, oh wait, all right. Teresa says Louie didn't mind being asked these questions, but she did. Got it. I probably wouldn't have revealed that, but got it. And then she says, how would you feel if somebody brought up you breaking up a home? Now, this was one of those where, on one hand, I'm kind of like, okay, well, Teresa come through with the mess. But what she wasn't expecting is Tracy to semi-own it. But she was just like, well, if anybody asks me a question, I am willing to answer the question because I wasn't the nanny and da-da-da-da-da. If Teresa was smart, she would have really dove deep. Well, never mind. I'm not going to get Teresa no ideas because the last time I tried to get somebody an idea, Sakina, I'm talking to you, sweetheart. I was trying to give Drew some advice before. I just said I'm not doing it with Drew, and Sakina said we're not giving no advice, so I can't give advice to somebody that's from Chi-Town because I'm from Chi-Town, back in Chi-Town. But nevertheless, not giving her no advice. See, where else are we? No. So Tracy said she doesn't. Nope, I already said that. But she was saying she doesn't have a problem with somebody asking her questions, but obviously Teresa does. Teresa brings up Mars saying that Louie is abusive, and Mars says, I didn't say that, but his exes did. And then Teresa says, well, maybe you asked them, and it's out now. Now, when she said that, and it's out now, that led me to believe, well, is it true? Because pretty much you didn't deny it in this moment. It might be true. Teresa leaves and says that, Melissa needs to make sure that her friends don't talk about her. And literally what this is Melissa doesn't have a storyline. Teresa knows that. Teresa knows the position and that she plays and what she holds in this friend group on this show. And she's literally coming at Melissa and what she's doing. And we really see this in the last episode, so episode number 12, which I'll be getting to shortly this evening, where she's pretty much just like, I'm holding this over your head where if you don't do what I say, we're not going to have a great relationship. So in turn, if we don't have a great relationship, I don't have a good relationship with my brother. Teresa might be dumb, but she not stupid. And then Dolores brings up her softball charity. Cool. Now we have a scene with Melissa and Joe. They're playing the Sweet 16 for... Hold on, wait. What's the girl name? It's not Adriana, is it? Hold on, I forgot the girl name that quickly. Is it Adriana? No. Okay, well, her daughter's... for their daughter. Planning that. All right, we get Teresa. She's packing, And they talk about I'm sorry, she mentioned selling her fitness line at the charity and that she's going to donate a portion of the proceeds. We don't know the percentage, and even though you don't have to reveal that, but if you're going to use a charity event to sit here and sell something, it's one of those where it's just like you should probably say how much of the proceeds you're willing to sell. But nevertheless, we're going to move on. um so we get Dolores. She's practicing her softball with Frank. They bring up the charity, and 75,000 they've already earned from ticket sales. The goal is 200,000. Cool. Now we get Jackie. She meets with her. I'm gonna just say doctor, cause I'm gonna just say doctor. But she meets with her and says she had a panic attack because she feels like prior to coming there, that would have been the last time for her to count her calories. The doctor says that her anorexia, so she literally pretty much diagnosed her with anorexia, but says her anorexia must be coming from a place of low self-esteem. Jackie confirms and said when she was in school, I want to say it was high school, when she was still heavy, she was putting on lipstick. A guy was walking past her, excuse me, and said that that's not going to help, and that really sent her down a spiral. And what is interesting is, unfortunately, because we live in a patriarchy and all this other stuff, a lot of women do feel that way, and their values of who they are and how they, show up in the world is based off the opinions and the ideology and the mindset of men. And a lot of the time it's from men who you don't even like, they don't even meet your standards. But you're brainwashed to, we're not going down that road today. Getting back to my notes anyway. I said that. I said that. She said that and she began to like cut her meals in half. She began to lose weight, and then she met Evan. And in her mind is, Evan met me at this weight in this particular way, so I need to maintain this to keep him. Now, we always say that the way that you get them is the way that you keep them, or the way that you lose them. Meaning that if you was whining and dining and doing all this other stuff to get the person, you need to maintain that. But in this particular instance, not really the same thing. And I do feel bad that Jackie has put herself in that particular mode. So Jackie is asked if her kids knew, and she shares that she thought she was hiding it. But her husband said that, oh, the kids are very abreast of what it is that's going on. And it's very clear when they go out to eat, and like when they go and get ice cream, they notice that they're consuming something, but their mother isn't. So then the doctor pretty much was just asking her about it. She said, well, I haven't had ice cream in like 20 years. So she challenges her, you know what, how about you go out and you have ice cream with the kids? And Jackie ends up coming home, tells Evan that the doctor understood her nuances, and Evan says he knows more than what she actually thinks. And then tells us that they can't go on a vacation for more than 4 days because within that time frame, Jackie at that point has lost control of her portion control, count calories and whatnot, and it becomes a real situation. And he says for years, if they were to go out to eat, that he would have to call a restaurant in advance to ensure that they would have steamed vegetables so they could enjoy a date night. And that's kind of sad. And she asked Evan if she was gaining weight, would he look at her differently? Now, obviously, he said the right answer, but I'm pretty sure he feels like she's like, I love you the way that you are. And I'm not sure if it was this episode or one of the other ones, because again, I just watched it all in succession. But he even said to her like he would love her anyway, but there's a certain weight, I guess we would say, frame where it's healthier for her, which that's him encouraging her, like to do better, eat better. So now we get Jen and Bill. So Jen shares that she made up with everyone and brings up the charity event. Bill still has his reservations. And I think I said on the last review that honestly I really don't care too much about how Bill feels, because the show went ahead and showed us in the mid-season, trailer, if you will, that he is cool with the guys again, which I really wish they would have held that because it would have made it more impactful. Jen mentions their anniversary, 19 years, and is asking, do you think we can make it another 19? It says, well, if we don't, or in general, if we don't make it, I get half. When I tell y'all, Bill had a look on his face like, I know you look. Hey, she made it this long. She made it this long. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, great. And it's not responding. Out fucking standing. Okay, it froze. I don't know what y'all did or didn't get, but I'm gonna keep on going. So, Bill, Bill wasn't amused when Jen said she would get half. Jen doesn't want to turn into her mother, which I find to be funny because she gave her mother the blues, but said that her mom had nothing negative to say about Bill when they were last together, but is still upset with Marge. We get Marge. Marge is planning a birthday party for her mother. And then she mentions that Teresa sent them all a text message asking them to wear her workout line. Marge isn't wearing it. And I understand it. We'll get to it momentarily. So now we're at the softball event. They bring up the leggings. Marge is like, says, we're not wearing it, right? Trying to rally the women behind her. I'm not a fan of that. Like, if you don't want to wear it, you don't want to wear it. But don't sit here and try to coerce, manipulate the group into doing something. Teresa and Gia, in addition to Louis, shows up. Teresa says that she brought some more stuff. Mars says we're good, and Teresa is wants to know like why does she have to say it like that? Teresa, get up out my face because you are notorious for saying some out of pocket stuff. But again, because this is your show and you have been successful at getting the Manzo family and even your other relatives, Katie, her husband, and I forget, is it Katie, Kathy, whatever, and her, I think it's Rosie, getting them off the show. Anyway, we're not doing that. We're not doing it. Anyway, Gia, then, now, again, y'all heard me say at the beginning of this season, Gia is an adult, but she's not grown. And when you put yourself in grown folk situations, it is what it is, and what comes, right? So Gia says, well, we're wearing the same thing anyway. We're wearing black leggings. She supports you guys with everything. Now, I think part of it is the whole peeking behind the curtain type of thing, where it's just like outside of this reality stuff, we all support each other. And I think that's where Gia was coming, but at the same exact time, these are adult women, and I got it that you're trying to defend your mother, but had Marge went and just, obliterated you, Marge wouldn't have been wrong. Because you were not present at what happened with your mother and the rest of the women. And of course, yes, you're going to sit here and tend to lean towards the person that you're closest to and what they said, but you weren't there. And you're sitting here as I'm not gonna say as a child, but as a young adult, inserting yourself into something with older adults. And that's not to say that she doesn't have the knowledge, but again, have Marge sat there and just she wouldn't have nothing to say. But Marge, being the lady that she is, says she supports her all the time, just not today. And then Gia goes into the bathroom with her mother because her mother was there and says, Marge is being such a bitch, and I didn't like that because yes, that's up for interpretation, but it's like you're now giving your mother more not ammunition, but you're making her more upset than what she really needs to be. Anyway, Dolores chooses to wear the leggings because she don't want the drama. Melissa does the same. Um, Jen shows up, but Bill doesn't. He just didn't want to come, but she lied, saying that he had a surgery. That's what Bill said too in the upcoming episode, but whatever. Um, see, we also find out that he was sending short responses to Frank in text messages, but that isn't like him. Jen is out there playing softball. She face plants, but nothing. But she had a helmet on, so nothing happened to her nose. Teresa says, if Marge had on her leggings, that her butt wouldn't be jiggling so much. In essence, body shaming, but her just being a mean girl. And this is one of those things. Never mind, we're not going down the rabbit hole. Token shows up towards the end. Teresa hugs Token, and Tracy's trying to figure out, well, okay, so she's mad at me, but not mad at him, but you're hugging him. It's all just get up under your skin. We don't like you though, but I'm just saying what it is. Token helps them win at the very end. And we found out that D-Lo raised over 200K, and that is it for that episode. So, yeah, that's it for this episode. And